Style for Life. I'm Stephanie Rumble, fashion stylist, accountability coach, and your guide to feeling good in your body and your clothes. Based in Christchurch, New Zealand, I bring over 3 decades of experience in fashion, fitness, and wellness to help you feel strong, stylish, and self-assured. Together, we'll explore the emotional, physical, and practical sides of style, because true confidence starts from within. No matter your age or size, you deserve to feel confident and show up as the best version of you. I truly believe this. This is Style for Life. Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast today. We're sitting at the beginning of August, which is very exciting, which means we have only one more month of winter left, and for that I am very glad because winter is cold here in Christchurch. And I just want to acknowledge all the comments and actually shared stories and things that have come out of last week's podcast, which was about alcohol, woman in midlife. And you know, I appreciate all of your comments and your measured responses, and it's prompted quite a lot of discussion, which has been really, really good. So yeah, I really appreciate that, and I'm hoping to interview someone around this topic in the future. So just trying to pin that down now. But I have decided today to talk about a topic that kind of came to me. Actually, over the weekend, I saw some material out there in the world of styling about this topic and being some aspects of styling being outdated. And I thought, goodness me, this is an interesting topic. And I thought I should talk about it because it's obviously very controversial. And here I am being controversial, Steph, over these few podcasts as well, with the alcohol one last week. So I've titled this week's podcast, and I've mainly made it about colour analysis because I think I'll do a separate one on body shape called Is Colour Analysis Outdated in Fashion Styling? And again, I did see this being referred to in some material I saw out there online, and I thought, actually, I just want to share my insights on this and share my expertise, my knowledge, my background a little bit around this so that we can actually debate the topic a little bit. So yeah, and look, I have been a fashion stylist for 19 years. It's a long time, right? And I started when my youngest child was 2 and she's nearly 22. So it's nearly 20 years. And I do believe that I've had a lot of training in this area. I have been, as many of you will know, I have a master's degree in clothing, and I studied the aspects of colour analysis. I also studied design at university. I went on and did a master's degree. So I have quite extensive academic qualifications, you know, outside of independent academic institutions. This was from the University of Otago. So I have quite a lot of academic qualifications in this area and some scientific basis for some of the things I do. I don't like doing things that don't have some basis in science. It just doesn't feel right for me. And, you know, also I understand that in styling things change. So we've had, in the history of fashion styling, when I started my business, which was in 2008, 2009, around 2007 actually, if it's been 19 years, 2007, it wasn't very popular to do colour analysis. People actually didn't like it very much, and it wasn't very popular, and I still offered it, and I've been offering it for 19 years, and I've had a regular trickle of new clients and sometimes a flood of new clients, and at times it's been really popular and other times it's ebbed and flowed. But across the time I've been doing it, I have had many people who have had their colours done, so to speak. So I've been offering the service for a while, and I have to say, in the early days I felt, you know, I encouraged my clients to be discreet with their colour palettes because it wasn't a very acceptable thing to take into retail stores. Retailers didn't always love it because obviously they felt it was restricting the customer in the early days. And then in the last 3 to 5 years, colour analysis has had a massive resurgence in the whole world, as opposed to just being in fashion styling. It's been back in fashion, so to speak. So that's been interesting. So I've seen, yeah, I've seen it come back in fashion. So there's a lot more people doing color analysis. There's a lot more people online talking about color analysis, and there's a lot more going on. So, it's been very popular. But again, I know that for some people, they've thought it was outdated. So I thought I would discuss what I think is outdated about color analysis, what I think is relevant, and some of the pros and cons of color analysis. I want to be really fair. I like to consider that on my podcast, I'm not here to sell. I'm here to give you information so you can make decisions about what you want for your life. So one of the things I do say to my clients if they come to me is the basis for fashion styling is understanding which colors work best for you. Now, when I say work best for you, I'm not using the words suit your skin tone. I'm saying that work best for you. So let's have a little look at why we think color analysis might have been considered to be outdated, and why there's still schools of thought out there about certain aspects of color analysis. I want to be really diplomatic here, because I, in my professional world, will never diss any other fashion stylist. People do the very best they can to offer the best services they can and provide services to everybody. So I want to make sure that I'm making sure that I'm behaving in a respectful way. So no dissing of anyone, but I just want to say that fashion styling has evolved and color analysis has definitely evolved. So when I started doing color analysis, it was very strict, quite a rigid approach of assigning people to just 4 seasons, and it never felt good to me. Like when I had my colors done when I was 16 in 1996, well, no, it wasn't that. It was earlier than that, way earlier than that. Like in 86, I think it was, or whatever it was. That's not even right. It must have been about 89 or something. So mid to late 80s, I was put into a season, and that worked okay for me. My sister was put into a season, and so was my mother. As it's turned out, my sister's was not right for her. And then it was insisted that we wear only those colours, and that was it. So at the time for me, I didn't know much about it. It felt okay. But that was in the 80s. Now, I know that colour analysis has evolved. And I think what I really know here is that modern fashion stylists, or fashion stylists in 2026, take a much more flexible, client-centered approach. So we want the clients to be at the center of everything we offer. We want them to be at the center of anything. Now, I understand and know about color analysis. I know about skin undertone, skin overtone. I understand how light reflects. I understand how contrast level works. But I also understand that people have preferences and they have likes and dislikes. So I think just to look at what's becoming outdated in color analysis is probably worth talking about, then what's still relevant, and the pros and cons. So I think really rigid rules, like saying you can't wear this because you're this season, doesn't really reflect how people dress. So, if someone comes to me and they're a season that for them orange isn't as flattering as another color, we talk about how we can wear orange. Can we wear it in another way? Can we wear it downstairs? Can we wear it in a way that it's like in the lower body? Can we wear it so it's on the outer part of the body and wear something near the face that gives them more harmony? So we've got to think about how we can include these things into. And I also think people don't always sit into one colour group. That's the thing. Some people totally do. And they're absolutely in one colour group and it's really straightforward. And you're like, oh, that's so easy. They come to you, and the others you're like, humming and hurrying a little bit about what suits them because of their skin tone and because of their colouring. So it's really important to have lots of different options for people too. So people can sit between seasons. They can successfully wear colours from multiple palettes, depending on fabric, lighting and styling as well. And I think it's really important to look at a person's identity. So colour analysis should support that, not dictate it, right? So what is the personality of the person? What do they like? What do they prefer? And also we want wardrobes that work for our careers, our budgets, our lifestyles as well. And also your undertone, right? So everything's got to work together. If you're somebody who works in an area where you have to wear a lot of dark clothes, and I'm telling you that you can't wear dark clothes, that's not going to work. So we've got to find options for you that work within your lifestyle, your career, your budget, etc. So it's not just about just on your skin undertone, you have to wear this, that, or the next thing. So I think, but what's really valuable is about color analysis. It's incredibly useful. It's incredibly useful because it helps you look more healthier and vibrant. There's just no going back on that. So when we do color analysis, we match your skin tone to your skin undertone to the colors that you have, which means that you actually look more vibrant. You look more alive. And I haven't met anyone yet who doesn't want to look more alive and more vibrant. Yeah. So that definitely makes a difference. We reduce trial and error shopping. Oh, shall I, shan't I? Shall I buy this? Shan't I buy this? You actually know that this doesn't look as good as what that does. And if you really want to buy this, then can we make it work with that so that it does look great on you? You can build cohesive capsule wardrobes. Oh my gosh. And who loves a capsule wardrobe, right? So you can put wardrobes together in the same color palette, which all work really cohesively together. So it's a really great way of doing that. And capsule wardrobes are so popular. We understand why some colors receive compliments and others don't. And that's because the skin tone works with the color. And we can save money by making better purchasing decisions. So I think people do make better purchasing decisions because their wardrobes cohesively work. The colours work together. If you think about a room, you put colours together that are in a similar palette that make things work. So I think for many clients, honestly, I have to say, it's my most popular service. And I've been working quite closely with beautiful Abby Button, who I was going to interview today, but she's actually sick. We'll get her back another time. So it's the most high value service she offers too. People are always looking for colours. They want to know what suits them. They want to save money. They want to understand why some colours work better on them than others. So I think, it is one of our most high value services. It is, for many clients, one of the things to really understand about your clothes. And look, where's the industry heading? Look, I think we need to combine color analysis with other things, like what's your personal style archetype or your clothing personality type? Who are you? We need to talk to you. And also talking about body proportions rather than body rules. I'll cover that in another podcast because I've been conflicted about that too. So I'm going to talk to you about that. So body proportions and how that works. Personality and what are your values? Like, what are your values around how you dress? Yeah. And how does that work? So what's your personality? And then again, what does your lifestyle, how does your lifestyle work? So I think, looking at your lifestyle needs and then obviously the psychology of color. Some people have aversions to color because of historical things. The number of people I've talked to that have aversion to the color of their school uniform, and I'm not that keen on mine if I'm honest. I went to school in a dark green uniform. I'm like, oh, I don't really wear dark green. Not that that's really plays in, but maybe it does. Right? So color psychology, what is currently on trend? Some people say I can never find my colors in stores, and my answer will always be, I can always find every color in stores. I've never had problems with that. And also individual preferences. Like, it's so valid if you don't like a particular color. I had some clients in yesterday had their colors done and they're both like, we just haven't been a yellow family. It was a mother-daughter. They were gorgeous. Oh, we haven't been a yellow family, so maybe we don't want to wear yellow. And I'm like, valid. If you don't like that, that's totally your choice. So, like what we're saying now is we're saying we want colours that make you look like the best version of yourself. And the best version of yourself could be a whole lot of things. So it's also about what suits your undertone and your overtone and your hair and your eyes and your skin and all of that, but also what suits all of the other things we've talked about. So we're wanting to talk about as stylists. So where does colour analysis look like it's going in the future? We want to talk about colour harmony rather than strict rules. So how does colour harmonise with you rather than telling you strictly have to wear this, that or the next thing? We want to discuss the contrast levels. Your contrast, your personal contrast, your hair, eye, skin colour, and then how that works with your clothes and how it works with your personality. So how do you see something that's high contrast? The colours are really different from each other. Do you see something that's medium contrast where the colours are a little bit different? Or do you feel better in something that's low contrast? Where does that sit for you in your personality and your colouring? Like, we've got to find ways of actually meshing the science of colour analysis and undertones with how you are. I think that's where modern stylists fit. So we've got to look at other things in colour dimensions. So like temperature, depth, clarity, intensity. So the temperature of a colour, warm, cool, neutral. How does that work for you? The depth of the colour, is it really dark? Is it deep? What's the intensity of the colour? Is the colour bright or is it not so bright? What works better for you? And how clear is that colour? So there's a whole lot of things that around colour dimension that also feed into modern colour analysis, which is what we cover off in our colour analysis that I offer. We cover all of those things rather than rigidly putting someone in rules. We also need to look at personal colour palettes tailored to individual need. So how can we actually individualise the palettes How can we make sure that they work for those people that are actually, perhaps wanting to wear something outside of their particular colour season or colour group? So how can we make that work as well? So we have the capacity to do that. We can make it work really well. And usually most people do fit into one colour palette. I've got 16 options, so there's many choices. But if they don't, how can we actually work with that too? So that's very much how I operate. So I think also there's AI out there to do colour analysis, although I've tried a few times. It gets me close, but it's not great. So I think there's real value in having an experienced stylist, and I have been doing this for nearly 20 years, and someone who's been properly trained. I think it's really important to have someone who's been properly trained and has had some academic rigor behind their training as well. So there's not that they actually understand what they're doing, and they can actually add value to the results and the context of your client's goals, confidence, and wardrobe. So color analysis is there to help improve your confidence. I think that's the thing that we really want to focus on, is confidence improves when you understand yourself. And understanding yourself is understanding which colours resonate for you, which work for your skin tone, and which actually make you glow, right? How do those colours work for you? And also, do you like them? How do we make that happen as well? So I think it's really important. We need to look at colour analysis as being, what are your best colours? What's your personal colour strategy? And I go through this with people as well. How can we improve your confidence in wearing colour? And many people come to me because they're just not confident with colour. So how can we improve that? How can we work out a colour that works for your life, that works for your job? How can we look to improve your confidence and your credibility? Colour can do all of those things. So we look away from rules to outcomes. We want to look more at how to look more energetic, how to look more approachable, more stylish. And understanding your colour analysis or in colours that work for you can help you to do that, right? But also playing into that is how we listen to our clients as well. So I think we want to be saying things like the balanced approach is empowering rather than restrictive. It aligns with how modern clients want to dress. So we want to align. So let's have a look here at some pros and cons of colour analysis. Colour can make you look healthier, brighter, and more rested. Some people can feel like it's overly restricted if it's treated like a rigid set of rules. So we need to make sure we're not doing that. And make shopping easier by narrowing down your colour choices, but not everyone neatly fits into a seasonal colour category. So we've got to make sure you've got options. It can reduce costly wardrobe mistakes, but remember that different systems can produce different results as well. It creates a more cohesive wardrobe where pieces mix and match, which we've already said. But lighting, hair, makeup, and tanning can affect results as well. So all of those things come into play. I do say to people that if you are wearing colours that are working with your colour, with your skin undertone, you need less tanning. So sometimes people feel like they have to tan to make colours work, but we don't need them as much when we actually have the right colours. Builds client confidence when you understand why certain colours look really good on them, so you actually can feel real confident. Some clients can feel disappointed if their favourite colours are deemed wrong, and I really don't like using that terminology. I like to let the colour analysis speak for itself so you can see whether a colour's working or not. And like most of my clients can, some people don't have that eye, and I totally get that. So it can save time when choosing outfits, so that's a really big plus of colour analysis too. But it may overlook colour, individual personality or style preferences, so we've got to make sure that as stylists we listen to you and look at what you like and don't like too. Like for example, some clients don't like colour, they like more neutral colours, so we've got to talk about, it's really important that we think about neutral colours, how they work, how they fit in as well. Also, we want to help create a consistent personal professional image. That's a pro of colour analysis. But remember, fashion trends don't always align with a client's palette. So sometimes particular colours can be really in fashion. So how do we make that work? They can make your facial features and eye colours stand out naturally. But we've also got to make sure we don't focus just on theory, and we've got to focus on practical application for the client as well. Can be really useful for selecting accessories, makeup and hair colour, so that's really important as well. That can be really helpful, but sometimes colour analysis can be subjective, so we've got to make sure that we're looking really closely at what the colours are doing for our skin and what the science says. It can give you a lifelong framework rather than a quick fashion trend, which is really good. But we want to make sure that we don't ignore cultural preferences or personal identity if we adopt it too rigidly. So I think that the key thing here is the rigidity that some people have adopted with color analysis. And I always say to my clients, make sure that you look at your colors, and if the color's close, it's going to be a color that's right for you, right? Or a color that harmonizes with you. If you want to wear this particular color and it's a color that you haven't got, how can we make sure that it works for you? How can we help you to wear that color in a way that you feel confident and great and still look like you're radiating as well? And it's a super interesting one. I remember having a client some years ago who her skin undertone dictated that she was more of what we would call a cool summer, or suiting more cool colors, and she loved orange, right? So she absolutely loved it. She wanted to wear it all the time. And, to be honest, it wasn't a colour that harmonised well with her colouring, but we just found ways for her to wear it, right? So we ended up finding some orange trousers, found her an orange jacket, and then we got some other colours underneath it that did better things for her skin tone. And, she looked great. So it's really important that, we do work with you as clients. That's the thing that I really want to come up with. So I just want to talk to you about, why color analysis actually works. So colors influence how light reflects onto the skin. Okay, so if light's reflecting in a way that harmonizes with you, it minimizes the appearance of shadows, redness, or sallowness, or what we call you looking unwell. Right, so certain hues can minimize that appearance. Now, I don't know. I know that there's some thought that this is outdated, but realistically, this is the science. Color influences how light reflects onto the skin. Certain colors reflect back and can make you look like you've got dark shadows under your eyes, you're more red or you're more sallow. And if you have the right level of contrast for you, so it's not too low, too high, or whatever, it can help enhance your color features, your facial features as well. So I think that's the other thing, is getting your contrast right. And I think that's really important too when we understand color analysis, but also understanding what you feel good in. So if you suit really high contrast, bright colors, and that doesn't feel right for you because you're somebody who likes to sit back a little bit, you're not somebody who likes to stand out, you like to be less visible. I get that. I get that all the time. I don't want people to notice me. I don't want to stand out. I don't want to be the person that's everyone looks at. I don't want people to look at me. That's really common. I need to do a podcast on that. Why do we not want people to look at us? Interesting. And that's really about confidence, isn't it? So very much about confidence. So, but making sure that you have colors that work for you. Again, we can look at neutral colors. If neutral colors feel more right and you don't want to stand out, we can work with colors that work for you. And everyone has loads of different neutral colors that look great. So if you have harmonious color combinations, like colors that work well together, you can actually look more balanced overall in appearance. So your outfit looks less harsh, it looks more in line with what suits you, it looks more, as I said, more harmonious, and you look more balanced overall. And I think most people want that. So I think creating combinations that work together actually enhance your appearance totally overall. So yeah, it's just a bit of a fact. I hate to say it, but it's a bit of a fact. So again, it's making sure that we can get things that work for the client, but also work for the colouring of the client. So I think they're based on optics rather than fashion trends. So, again, if you're looking at fashion trends, look, I'd say 99% of my clients come to me going, I don't want to follow fashion trends. I just want clothes that are going to last me a long time. And I think the criticism of colour analysis is it's directed at how colour analysis is applied, not the concept itself. And that's really about having very rigid rules around it and saying you can only wear this, you can only wear that, and you mustn't wear this, and you mustn't wear that. And that was the old way of doing colour analysis when I was first trained. That's how I was trained, and it didn't ever sit well with me. I think I've said this many times on the podcast. I felt like I needed to be trained again in something that allowed more flexibility, more personality, less rigid rules, and more choice. And that's definitely how colour analysis works for me in my business here and for my clients. So I think insisting that someone can't wear black or white, I think can be problematic. I've definitely fallen into this trap in the past. I think Black, if you want to wear black, let's find a way that makes black work for you, right? Can we put it with a colour? Can we add some jewellery? Can we make sure the makeup's right? Can we keep it away from this very narrow part around the face and wherever else on the body? If you really love it, let's find a way. Can we wear white? Of course. Let's find a white that works. Oh my goodness. And then we've got to make sure, again, I've said this a few times on this podcast, we've got to look at the client's personality and lifestyle. And we've got to make sure that we prioritize confidence. What's going to make you more confident? And we've got to be more flexible, right? And clothing's only one part of an overall look. And this is another thing I talk about with clients all the time. In fact, I had this conversation yesterday with my client around her hair color. So how can we get your hair color to harmonize more with you as your skin tone changes? Yeah, so I think someone who feels fantastic in a color they love will project confidence as well. And we want to try and align that confidence with the flattering color analysis. So we want to be making sure, as I've said, we look at your preferences, your lifestyle, your wardrobe goals, your body proportions, and your confidence and self-expression. So instead of saying you can't wear mustard because you're a summer, what we might say is mustard isn't your most flattering shade to your face, but let's wear it as a skirt, trousers, shoes, or a handbag, or choose a softer shade that works better with your colouring, right? So I think the greatest value of colour analysis is confidence. The greatest value of colour analysis is confidence. Clients gain clarity about what suits them, they make quicker decisions, waste less money, and they feel more confident with their choices, right? But colour analysis, although it's a valuable tool and it's a very effective part of fashion styling, it's only one part of fashion styling. It's got to be combined with the style of clothes you wear, the fit of the clothes. So how do the clothes look on your body? It's all very well having the great colour, but if it doesn't fit you, it doesn't feel right. You don't feel confident, right? But it becomes a powerful foundation. Yeah? So if we use it in isolation or with an inflexible set of rules, it can limit creativity and discourage clients. We want to make sure we put all of these things in there. We want to make sure the colour analysis is used to expand clients' confidence and choices, not to restrict them. And that's very much what I'm about. We're about expanding your confidence, expanding your choices, and not restricting them. So that's just a bit of information about, is colour analysis outdated? I think in its old iteration, potentially it is. But in its new iteration, which is 100% what I offer, it's not. And I've had to, as I said, and acknowledge and shift my approach to colour analysis. My understanding of client preferences and needs. I was taught initially to be quite rigid about it, but I didn't like that. I never have. And now I want to help you. I'm not a rule follower. I'm not a rule follower. I'm quite bad at rules, quite bad at them. So I like to be able to help clients find things that work for them within the colour palette they've got or outside of it if that's what they need. Because I understand that everybody wants to be self-expressed, they want to be stylish, they want to feel confident in what they're wearing. And confidence is a huge key buzzword at the moment. And I want to make sure that that's what you feel when you do any sort of styling with myself or anyone who's offering the colour analysis option or just any stylist. We want you to feel more confident. And again, I don't want to put you into a rigid set of rules or boxes or types or anything like that. I want you to feel great. I want you to go out in the world and feel like the best version of you. And I 100% believe, understand, and know from the science that I've studied that colour works with your skin tone. If you can wear colours that work with your skin undertone, and we can also work with colours that suit your personality, your lifestyle, all of that together, then you are going to feel more confident. You're going to look great. So I appreciate all of you for listening to this. I hope this has been useful, and we can see that there's a place in fashion styling, very much so for colour analysis, as we see all over social media, as we're hearing about everyone's jumping on at the colour analysis bandwagon. I would love to help you with colour analysis if that is what you want. It is a service I offer regularly. It's very popular. I have a fantastic app now that is very dynamic, has many, many options in it, and I teach you how to use that when you do colour analysis with me. So kia kaha, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast about colour analysis and is it outdated or not. And I hope you've learned something. I'd love to hear from you, so feel free to drop me a DM, message me, or make a comment on, I'll pop this up on Instagram, And I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, a week filled with colour. I do have a workshop coming up at the Crossing here in Christchurch with the fabulous stylist Abby Button in a couple of weeks on Saturday, the 15th of August, 2026. So if you're listening to this in the future, you may have missed out. There'll be more. And we are going to talk about how to build a colourful capsule wardrobe that gives you confidence. So thank you so much for listening. Check me out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And I appreciate all of you for listening. Have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you for listening to the Style for Life podcast. Don't forget, you deserve to feel fabulous at every age, every stage, and at every size. If you're loving the show, hit subscribe and leave a review. It helps more amazing people like you find their way back to life through style. Thanks again. Until next time.